Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. I hope sincerely that everyone out there is doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It helps out the algorithm, it helps out the channel, and it is very much appreciated. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment as well. It also helps out the algorithm. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome back to another edition of No, it's done. It's no, things are different now than they previously were before. We have had a non-stop stream of people telling us, I just hit the table, of people telling us that this time is different. It's not the same as the previous times when we saw crypto in the markets. And basically, the idea is that the market structure, the market cycles have broken down. They've changed based off of the, and I dare use the word tremendous, amount of new rules and regulations that we have received from the ETFs, the advent of ETF season, and all these new things flowing in our direction, the amount of money that's pouring into the market, the hundreds of companies who've announced they're buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and that coin and this coin. The governmental buying that we've also been seeing that for some reason people in crypto forget about quite easily. And that one sticks out to me the most because governments buying crypto is basically a declaration that their paper money is garbage and they're literally announcing it to the world that they can't keep up anymore, so they have to buy Bitcoin. But a lot of people in crypto just don't even think about that. So here we are yet again. As we move ever closer to 2026, there is a rallying cry being shouted ever so gently in our direction, seemingly every single day, that prices, according to analysts, our prices are only going to continue going up. Money is only going to continue flowing into this market. Everything is different than it was before. And this, of course, made very popular news. In a recent blog post, former BitMEX CEO, his name is Arthur Hayes, argues that Bitcoin's 4-year cycle is essentially done for. Arthur Hayes, famous not only for being Arthur, but also having the name Hayes, usually is in the cryptocurrency news and has been for a number of years because of his strong conviction to the market. He's one of the people who has proclaimed Bitcoin's going to 100K. This is going to happen. We're going to see companies enter the space. You name it, he said it. And at some point, he ends up being correct. So therefore, he ends up making it into the news. He has joined the fray along with 75 others who are all talking about that because of the movement of the market this year, because of the money that has flown into the space, we have never thus far seen in a short span of time $100 billion, real number, worth of Bitcoin purchases from countries, sovereign wealth funds, ETF issuers, and companies. It's literally unprecedented. And since this money has entered the market, there are expectations that next year is going to be more intenser than this one, that they're expecting a huge amount of extra money to move into the market next year. And therefore, the theory holds that if there is indeed let's say, a drop in price, that it wouldn't be as dramatic as what we've seen before, that a drop in price for Bitcoin and crypto would be around 10, 15, or 20%. Those are the numbers that they've told us. All the analysts have said, like, if there is a drop, it won't be as dramatic. We're expecting between 15 to 20, like that thing over and over. And then subsequently, it would be kind of like, imagine 800 hungry people standing around a table and there's cake on it. The idea would be, who's going to move first? Everybody wants some Bitcoin. Everyone saw that the price went down. Everyone's really hungry. So the idea that only one company would walk up to the table and take a slice of cake is kind of nonsense. If they see the price has gone down and the expectations are still for a $1 million Bitcoin in 3.5 years, yeah, don't forget those numbers that we've also been hearing, that therefore any dip in price would be heavily short-lived. Prices would move back up. The new price enters the news. More people see that Bitcoin has gone up. They begin to buy in. The price goes up even more. Companies see that the price has gone up. Prices buy even more. That's the general idea. However, he argued that the cycle theory will fail this time. And those who continue to apply it do not understand why the cryptocurrency surged in the first place. We had someone else recently who also said relatively the same thing, that prices will rise. There might be a heavy dip. But one of the ideas is that this 4-year cycle that we've always lived under is basically kind of done for. And this was apparently, the invalidation began last year when we already moved up to the previous all-time high before getting into January. He said, and I quote, or rather he said, during the Genesis cycle, which took place from 2009 to 2013, Bitcoin's massive bull runs were fueled by aggressive quantitative easing in the United States, which was implemented in response to the global financial crisis. The ICO cycle was then fueled by yuan credit expansion. According to Hayes, the market peaked around 2017 when Chinese credit growth slowed down. As reported by You Today, CEO Ki-Young Ju, JU, also previously opined that the 4-year cycle theory is essentially done due to holders outnumbering traders. There is a popular belief that the cycles have been upended by the introduction of the extremely successful Bitcoin exchange traded funds. If you didn't see that news, we had it about 3 or 4 times sprinkled over the course of last year and this year. You know, it's big news, but it wasn't like perpetually in the news. Basically, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, the first one that they launched, is so successful. What were the numbers? I think it's the most successful ETF of all time. That sounds like a joke, but no, like Google it. Of all time, the speed at which the money flowed into the actual fund was unprecedented. The amount of money, like the actual volume and the actual, billions that went into it, far outsurpassed every other ETF. And this was constantly, mirrored against gold ETFs. When gold ETFs started, they had X amount of money going into them over the course of a 15-year period. The Bitcoin ETF, just one of them, completely outsurpassed every other one. Like, it's like a literal line just going straight into the air for the Bitcoin ones. And then for the gold ones, it was like a, notched up slowly to the side over the course of multiple years. Thus lending to the idea that we are probably going to see more money enter into the space, into the ETFs, that they'll continue to outperform other ETFs, and therefore you get it. So this is now another person indicating, announcing, saying that the 4-year cycles are done. If we get to January and we still figure out that we're still in this 4-year cycle, I don't know what I'm going to do. I sincerely, I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for an everlasting gobstopper of a cycle. If we keep hearing every single day that Novogratz, Arthur Hayes, Tom Lee was also recently in the news and was like, yeah, I think the 4-year cycles are done. We're expecting prices to keep going up in 2026. We're expecting $1 million Bitcoin by 2029. It's, if you keep hearing it over and over, you kind of assume that's the thing that's going to take place, but we shall see. It does make a lot of sense. I'm just, the word's not skeptical. I just want to see it actually take place. Like I said, February, like the middle of February, if prices are still up, we are no longer in the 4-year cycle, because, it usually ends typically at the end of December or the beginning of January. Yeah, that's the another person talking about 4-year cycles are done. I mean, okay, we'll see. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also yay, wow, I can't believe it. So years ago, we had this thing where people started to figure out that Bitcoin might have value. I know it sounds weird now because we typically see that Bitcoin has a number. But years ago, like really low prices in the market, there were tons of companies who began to announce that they were accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment. And then we began to realize that this was basically an easy way for them to acquire Bitcoin for their wares and their services. Sure, I'll give you this. You give me the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin since then has done a 150x in price. So who won? The guy with the pen or the guy with the Bitcoin? That then turned into, what do you call it? That then turned into like local governments. And that was a big thing in 2018, 19, and 20, being like, hey, you want to pay your taxes? Sure, you can do it in Bitcoin now. And everyone was like, yeah, taxes. And I was like, no, they figured out a way, or rather, they thought they did, because this also happened recently as well. There were 2 cities who mentioned that, municipal taxes can now be paid in Bitcoin. The theme there is they want Bitcoin for themselves. So many cities assume that crypto holders, crypto investors are like just hankering to get rid of their coins. There's all this newfound wealth. Yeah, I want to pay my taxes with it. It sounds like a joke, but this is what it is. So companies, states, everyone is looking for some kind of a clever way to accumulate crypto. And the most basic way is to say, hey, you do this, you give us that kind of thing. This made popular news, and it's not that it's not amazing, but as I stated many times before, I do not think the majority of people in crypto have any intentions to actually sell, relinquish, or use is the more proper word. Use their coins for purchases. Yeah. Until Bitcoin is like well above $1 million. That's just the way that it seems at the moment. A company by the name of Open Door. Wow. Open Door, a $6 billion real estate giant, may soon join the growing list of companies embracing Bitcoin and crypto payments. I mean, at some point, you kind of just have to. It's not even like we're thinking about it. You're not going to really have a choice if a lot of the wealth, as we've been hearing, if a lot of wealth on this planet in the next 3.5 years moves into crypto, Bitcoin does a 9x in price, XRP does a 22x in price, Ethereum's at $70,000, you're going to have to at some point be like, okay, cool. Like, we're accepting it just generally as a form of payment. We got Visa, we got MasterCard, Diners Club, is that a thing? Eaters Club, Food Club, whatever it's called. And then you also like are accepting crypto as well. That's just the kind of the way that things are moving. The company's CEO, Kaz Nejatian, hinted at such a plan in a recent conversation on Twitter, suggesting that Open Door may soon allow clients to buy homes using Bitcoin. However, the firm has not yet released an official statement. And I mean, at this point, just do it. I don't know if they think that they're being cool or that their announcement would raise the price of Bitcoin or that people would throw a parade in some sort. Does anyone know what Open Door is? I'm not being shady. I'm just like actually asking. I never heard of Open Door myself, so I'm just, question marks in the air. But if you're talking about you're like hinting at suggesting that this could just do it. No one's gonna be like, oh my gosh, Open Door. In the conversation, Najatian told, it says his audience, that he wanted to let everyday shareholders ask questions directly to the management team during the next earnings call. He said he already had some ideas, but he was hoping to hear suggestions. To handle conversions between Bitcoin and US dollars, Open Door may partner with a crypto custodian such as Coinbase. However, the company has yet to specify which specific areas of the operation it will adopt. Well, good luck, guys. I hope it works out for you. Yeah, cool. This is not the first one, and they will not be the last. I think the first one to accept crypto for real estate, there was a company in New York. This is 2016, 2017. I don't remember what they're called anymore. Like, it was like prominently on there. And that was when they posted that on their website when Bitcoin was like $1,200. Isn't that insane to think about? There was, I forgot the name of the company. Almost a decade ago, there was a company who announced that they were accepting crypto for real estate. And I'm certain that there were definitely people who like bought a $4 million property with Bitcoin. That, oh my gosh, that would be like, wouldn't that be like $400 million plus now? Wow, yeah, it's insane. Yeah, so this usually, and I can be honest here, this usually ends up being the issue. No one really wants to be the pizza guy. I mean, the idea of buying things in crypto sounds fantastic. But if you buy something in Bitcoins at 150, and then you see a couple years later Bitcoin's at 1.5 million, well, you kind of gave away 10x of the value. And then at some point, if Bitcoin goes from 1.5 million to 15 million, then at that point, you're just sitting in a room kind of crying. And if we get to 15 million and we go to 45 million, you understand. So nobody, these things sound great in practice, but I think a mental barrier for a lot of people will be the $1 million mark. And then they'll go, okay, I'm okay with spending a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of something as opposed to, I mean, who even, Anyway, yeah, wow, Open Door, opening the door for crypto payments. Look at that, guys. We made it to the future. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.